Now for an exclusive interview with the Greenville County Sheriff candidates. Here's Jackson Gosnell.
Hey, so I'm Jackson Gosnell, and I'm joined by Republican candidate Hobart Lewis, who's running for Greenville County Sheriff, and Democratic candidate Paul Guy. Both candidates are going to be responding to some questions from Facebook viewers. So first question will go to Hobart. How will you increase the number of deputies through both recruiting and retention?
Well, when you talk about increasing the number of deputies immediately on the road, we're going to reorganize the sheriff's office to put more deputies on the road. When you talk about retention and keeping those deputies, that's a little different situation. I think we discussed that earlier. If we change the environment at the sheriff's office, I believe we can create a better place to work, more community engagement, and make it a little bit more enjoyable so there's not so much tension between us and the community. I think that's the best we can do. You know, we still going to have people leave or get frustrated or get that 10-year itch and leave to go do something else, of course. But what we have to do is restore the level of trust and integrity we had at the sheriff's office, where at one time that was the place to work. And that's what we want to do again, which will help with recruiting from other agencies or even some folks that may come out of the military. There's a lot of resources out there I think we can go get to get some very good qualified people. And we got to make sure that we're not hindering them in the process somehow. And we get a lot of phone calls, I'm sure Paul does too, where people have applied and for some reason it's fell through the cracks or nobody's followed up with them or they ran into a glitch here, there, or whatever. So we gotta really get a good hold on that.
Right, and I'll ask the same question to you, Paul. How will you increase the number of deputies through both retention and recruiting?
Yeah, you have to look at the format. How do we recruit? I think that Hobart is right. You have to look at the total manpower that we have. You have to do some maneuvering. You have to do some adjustment. Okay, I think the sheriff's office is top heavy in the command area. I think it's top heavy in the CID division, investigative division. I think some of those people. I think we have too many captains. I think we have too many supervisors. Okay, but I think that we have to move these people in the areas where they can be more effective on the road, especially on the road. Okay. Number two is we have to broaden our horizon on how we recruit. We look at deputies. We say the only thing we can pull deputies from the military. We have to go back to colleges, but I think we need to set aside, and this is very futuristic. I think the Greenville County Sheriff Foundation, okay, the money we raise should be money given to the kids in high school who want to pursue their career in law enforcement. I think we need to provide some scholarship money. I don't think the Greenville County Sheriff itself should control the foundation. I think we have to reconstruct the foundation, do three things we're supposed to do. One, take care of the widowers, take care of kids, okay? And number three is the additive is to take the money in these foundations and let's start in high school, even in middle school. Is that look, if you have a track to become, that you want to become a law enforcement officer, right? And you want to go to college, let's invest that money in them.
Right, okay. And also, I'm going to ask a question now to Hobart starting off. Will you support cooperation with ICE in terms of illegal immigrants?
Sure, absolutely. I don't think anybody would not do that. That's in the previous debates, that's always came up. The situation that happened in Buncombe County was a pretty unique situation, and we're certainly not going to let that happen here. But ICE does have to have a detainer on that person too, to hold them. We have to do it the right way, and as long as they do their part, we'll certainly hold them until that person's picked up.
Okay, and your stance on that as well?
It's the same thing. Our job is to serve and protect, and when we arrest someone, okay, then we have local warrants. But if ICE has a detainer, it's our job to detain them, okay? But I don't think that we should go out and round up illegal aliens and figure out if they're illegal or not. But if they violate the laws, and some people think that it is different between a misdemeanor and a felony. okay? And if a immigrant is charged with a felony, he's definitely gonna stay in jail,
Right.
you know? So I agree that we're gonna follow our mandate and also assist ICE when it's necessary to assist them.
Gotcha. Okay, also a question we did touch on in the debate too as well. How would you plan on improving officer morale inside the agency?
Well, I think we talked about that really with one of your first questions. Once we bring some stability back and the sheriff is elected, I think that's gonna be kind of a self-correcting issue, at least in the short term. Now, what that sheriff does when they get into office is gonna affect that directly too. But it's gonna take some time to see the fruits of our labor, no matter which one of us is elected. But it just comes down, I think, to having a sheriff that'll be out front, working, being out here in the community, laying out a clear set of guidelines too on what the expectations are for the men and women at the sheriff's office and what the sheriff brings to the table as well. We don't have a lot of time. Whoever's elected, the election's on March 10th, you're sworn in and take over on March 12th. Normally there's a 4 or 5 month transition period. We don't have the luxury of that. So we're really gonna need the men and women at the sheriff's office to be patient and work with us. And a lot of communication is gonna have to take place as changes are implemented slowly. We wanna turn the ship in the right direction, but we don't wanna throw everybody off in the process. So we have to be careful.
Gotcha. And what's your stance on that as well?
It's gonna be a long process, but it's a process of creating trust. And I think the deputies need to trust, you know, whether I'm the sheriff or whether Hobart the sheriff. You need to trust and you need to look at us and say, and look at us and see what we do, hear what we say, okay? And we make the judgment that we are firm in what we say, okay? It is a long process, okay? So, but the bottom line is that I think we're men of integrity, okay? And I think they're gonna see that. All right, once they see our position on our position on issues, then that's gonna be a determinant factor. Are they gonna follow us as leaders? That's the most important thing.
Right, okay. Another question for you. How do you plan to combat crime, throughout the whole county? People are asking on Facebook specifically in the northern part, but I assume that's gonna be a priority throughout the whole county.
It is, and a lot of that comes, obviously, we need more deputies on the road. And what we would like is certainly voluntary compliance. You got deputies out there riding around in a marked car and criminals see them and maybe it deters them from doing something they were gonna do. And a lot of that's wishful thinking. But we do need those men and women out there riding around in cars, checking on neighborhoods, checking on our senior citizens, checking on our young people. The second part of that is we have to do a better job of following up on property crimes, which we failed to do for a long time. We get these small time crimes, these small larcenies or petty larcenies, and start charging people and work with the solicitor's office to stiffen up the penalties.
Right.
To have some people arrested. That's going to hopefully make some inroads in reducing the number of crimes. Also, I think we have to set the standard now for our young people. If we don't get involved now, our juveniles, our children make up 22% of the population, but they're 100% of the future. You're standing here now interviewing us. How old are you?
I'm 16.
16 years old. So another 10 years, you're going to be 26. You may be on a major network doing something.
That's the hope.
Well, you never know. But you can do that. But you're the future. We're in between. We're in the middle. And we're heading downhill pretty fast. We're on the backside of our lives for sure. But we have to pave the way and create a better future for your generation and the ones beyond. And if we don't engage those young people now and try to deter them from criminal activity, that's when you're really talking about reducing crime, is when you reduce the mentality of the people who are committing them. We have to give them another alternative, whether it's a career, some people just want hope. We're in a very unfortunate situation in Greenville, and I think if we can be mentors in this community for our young people, we really can make some change, and that would be my biggest effort. Because the sheriff has a huge platform in this community. So there's a lot that can be done.
Definitely so. And then how do you plan to do? Do you echo what Hobart says?
Yes, but in a little bit more. So you have, since 2002, you have 26,671 youth has been detained and arrested by the Greenville County Sheriff's Office of the municipality. Of those cases, you have assault and battery, disorderly conduct, disturbing school, simple possession of marijuana, and fail to comply. Assault and battery is a behavior crime. Okay, disorderly conduct is a behavior crime. Simple possession of marijuana is a lifestyle crime, okay? So you want to say to the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, how much money are we putting in intervention and prevention, okay? Of the 7.28% of operational costs, no money is provided for intervention and prevention. And as Hobart stated before, if you want to stop crime, you stop it before it activates, not afterwards. So we have to put an emphasis on how we engage with young people. Criminals are getting older, you know. Sometimes they retire. Young people, we got to board them, we got to stop them, and at this point is give them something creative to do.
Right, okay. Response time has been a big issue, as I'm sure you know, throughout the county. What's your plan? I know you talked a little bit about, combining all the dispatchers into one building. What is your plan as far as improving those response times countywide?
Well, a centralized dispatch is really not going to repair that problem. What we have to have is working men and women on the road and be put in this part of the county to where we have those high response times. Take them out of the middle portion of the county, put them in the most northern part, the most southern part. We got to add deputies to the road so that they can, number one, if you call and report a crime, they can have the opportunity to spend the time they need to take care of your issue and not be worried about going to the next one. And that's going to just come down to manpower allocation. So it's really about putting more deputies on the road to repair that.
And your stance?
Yeah, I'm somewhat different because I believe in creating a real-time crime center where data determines the trends. Data determines where you put manpower and resources. And if we put the manpower and resources in the right places, following the data, then it should be the time period should be lessened.
Okay. And before we go, what's your final message to voters for March 10th?
Just please get out and vote on March 10th for me or Paul Guy. We're your options, but we need your support. This race is not over for any of us, either one of us. Please don't get confused with the primary election that's going on this Saturday. We need people's support. We need their engagement to show up on March 10th. Either one of us two will certainly be the sheriff. And it takes this community support, so please get out and get behind the candidate and help them. We need help raising money, obviously. We need help putting out signs and handing out brochures and doing all those things, but we need you to vote. That's the most important part of this campaign for either one of us, is to have participation.
And what's your message to voters?
Again, it's important that the community get involved and stay involved. Even after March the 10th, this is a community-driven. We want this to be a community-driven sheriff's office, and the first step is getting out and vote on March the 10th. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for your time this evening, and best of luck to both of you on March 10th.